Good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to Techrity's Bid for Informal Sector Hackathon. We're talking about Git and GitHub today with Ruth Ikegah. But before we go into that, I would like us to know more about Techrity. Techrity is a non-profit social enterprise who helps kickstart beginners in tech careers by providing vital resources like data, laptops, and mentorship support for their journey to be a success. Techrity mentorship program connects people who have specific skills such as coding, product management, project management, writing, and knowledge with individuals who may need these same skills to develop their skill sets. The Build for Social Good Hackathon identifies specific challenges for teams to build and provide solutions for social good problems. Hackathon participants also get access to mentors to support and direct them during the hackathon phase. We're all about engineering a community of givers for technology across Africa and beyond. You can find out more about us on our website at www.techrity.org, and it will be pasted on the chat now. Or you can send us a message at hello@techrity.org. Also, follow our social media channels at Techrity Org. Also, don't forget, you can also find out the previous webinars and also this current webinars on our YouTube channel. So I'll be introducing the speaker now. Today we have Ruth Ikegah, and like I said, she'll be taking us on Git and GitHub. Ruth is a back-end developer who is very passionate about what she does. Ruth, please, over to you now.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Good evening.
Yeah, you
All
are.
right, okay. So I'll go ahead and share my screen in a sec. I think you have to give me like permission to share my screen. Okay, thanks. It's up now. All right. Okay, is this visible?
Yes.
All right, thanks. Okay. Give me a sec. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ruth Ikegah, and I'm going to be talking about how to use Git and GitHub in today's webinar. So, like she said, I'm a backend developer. I'm also a technical writer, and I recently joined the GitHub Stars program as a GitHub star, and I also love eating cakes a lot. So we'll just be diving in, right? So yeah, are you scared of it? I know, like usually for beginners, it's a scare. Like using the command line generally, it's a scare. So whenever someone says, "Okay, learn how to use the command line," it becomes like it's a problem for most beginners. And I'm talking to people who are participating in the hackathon, so I maybe or maybe not you have some background knowledge on using Git and GitHub, but I would as well make this session beginner friendly. Just in case you hear terms you have heard before, please pardon me. And I'll also make it practical, like she said earlier. We're going to like be doing, because the essence of this webinar is to help you understand how to submit your wonderful projects to the hackathon GitHub repository. So that's the essence of this webinar. So while I explain the slight differences between Git and GitHub, I'd also have like also a practical session on how to actually the steps you can take to actually submit your project to the GitHub repository. So next, I'll tell you, do not be scared of Git or the command line. It's one essential. Git is a collaborative tool. So as a developer, you are definitely going to use it, or you definitely need to learn how to use it. So what is Git? right? So Git is a version control system that it helps developers keep track of the state of their code and allows collaboration. Like I said earlier, that it's a collaborative tool, right? And another feature of it is that it helps you keep track of your code, like keep track of the state of the code. Let's say you started your whatever project you're building for the hackathon for Build for Social Good. You started it from the start of December. When you initialize Git on the project, it helps you like keep track of each change and each commit you make as you go ahead with the project. And it was developed by Linus Torvald in 2005. So now there's a difference between Git, which is the version control system, and GitHub. So now what is GitHub? So GitHub is the code hosting platform for version control and collaboration. So it's a website, or it's where you put your project on the cloud, just like let's see how your Google Drive works, where you can upload your files to the cloud, and it stores your files there. But GitHub has a whole lot of features that not in similarity with Google Drive. But for GitHub, it's you see it as a where you put your project in the cloud. So it helps you manage your project in form of repositories, right? So there are a whole lot of good and amazing features on GitHub that helps collaboration and uh, your improves your project as you go ahead. We might not be looking at so much of that, but that's like definition of a basic definition of what GitHub is and what Git is. Now, okay, so for the difference, pardon me, I usually like using this description for pointing out a difference. So on this thread, someone asked what's the difference between Git and GitHub. So the response was, which is, I think this is my epic response, or one of like wonderful responses, and it gives you like it gets you understand. If you don't understand it, don't worry, as you go ahead, I'll try to clarify the differences, right? So the person said it's the difference between porn and Pornhub. So I think you can make do with that. If you can't, we use other definitions or other differences rather. So now for Git, analyzing more features, right? So for Git helps you track your changes, and you have a feature Git and GitHub share is it helps you work on multiple branches. Like I'll be using branches on the practical session, so you practically understand what that means. But in with a short definition, working with branches is just having working copies of your project, and it helps you experiment more changes and more features before you finally add it to the master, or now it's called main branch, to the main branch. That's the main project, right? So with Git, you can undo changes, you can view previous changes, you can like look at even if you started the project like 10 years ago. So as Git is initialized on the repository, you can track those changes and commits you made like 10 years ago, right? And the thing is, you can work with now. There's one thing I want to say, that um, Git is not dependent on GitHub, but GitHub is dependent on Git. So what I mean with this is, to use Git, you do not actually need like GitHub. You can have Git locally on your system and use it for your project. But just when you want to put your project on the cloud, or put your code or whatever on the cloud, you have to use GitHub. Or there are other clients like GitLab, there's Bitbucket, right? But GitHub is dependent on Git in the sense that you need this command line to actually push your code down to GitHub. But I think there's this GitHub desktop. It's like a graphical GUI for GitHub desktop. Is very simple to use. That it helps you, instead of, for people that are scared of the command line. But I usually do not recommend that, because I am a fan of you learning how to use the command line. So there's GitHub Desktop. So some features of GitHub that I highlighted here is it helps you host your code on the cloud. Like I said, it has a handy web UI and plenty other features. It's a place where you can easily collaborate on your project. Like, for example, now we have a main repository in Techrity where we want you to submit your project to. So you are indirectly collaborating on the main repository, right? So it's a place where collaborators can easily like view, clone, and clone. If you've not heard of the term, clone means like, let's say, download the repository to your local system. So, and also contribute to projects for people that want to get involved in open source. So like I said, it's going to be a practical session, and the prerequisite you need for this is a GitHub account. You have to have Git locally installed in your local system, and you have a project, right? You have like a your build for social good project you want to upload. So let's go ahead. Give me a sec. Let me go out of this tab. Right, yeah. So you can see, just to be sure, you can see the repository, right? Mm, okay, I think that's a yes. Right. So I'll go ahead. So this is the I think it should be posted on the chat session or in the Slack channel also. This is the GitHub repository you are going to be submitting your project to. So if you scroll down the README, there are already details on how to like submit your projects, and this is what we'll be going through, right? So in case you miss out any step, you can always check the readme for details about how to submit your project. It's very short and straight to the point, so this is also helpful. But on my own end, I'm doing a practical session. So the first thing you have to do is to fork this project. So what it means is having your own copy, right? Having your own, because usually it is not advisable to directly contribute or push your code to the main project. You have to have, there's this etiquette, I think. You have to like have um your own copy of the repository. So you can see that I have successfully forked this repository to, you can see that the name here changed, right? So now the next thing is clone. You have to clone this project to your local system, right? So now you go to the code, this code area. When you click here, now there are three ways to clone the project, and for this session I'm going to be using HTTPS, but you can use SSH or the new GitHub CLI, which makes things a little easy. But let's use the HTTPS. So, like I said, a prerequisite is having Git Bash locally installed. So, just give me a sec. Let me push this up. Okay, so now I have Git Bash open here. So just to be sure, can you see this, my command line?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
all right, thank you very much. So I would go into a folder. I'll just put this on my desktop just to be fast with everything. So cd desktop. I'm running on a Windows, by the way. So yeah, so I'm going to, the command is this git clone the URL we are going to copy, or the HTTP address copy. Yeah, so you click here, you copy, then you paste it here. And Okay, so this has been successfully cloned to my, or a lighter word to use, it has been successfully downloaded to my local system, right? So I have this file, I have everything in it, I have it on my local system. So I'm going to cd. So cd means change directory. If you're not used to the Windows, if you're not used to the command, cd means change, that is change the directory, or wherever, change this wherever I am right now to this folder. So I'm going to cd into build for social good, and you can always use tab to auto complete it. So far as you just start with the whatever it starts with, once you press tab, so far as the file is there, it auto completes. So I cd into that, so you can see that I am on the path is showing that I am inside this folder or this directory built for social good. So now I want to upload, the next step is actually creating a subfolder inside inside one of, yeah, I think one of the folders, and creating uploading your project. So there's a command to open I use VS Code, if in case you use another code editor. I do not know if it works for other code editors, but a short command to open VS Code from the terminal is code dot. So this opens like VS Code on the particular path you are in. So that takes a little while because okay, it was even fast because I'm running on Chrome and VS Code. There are two enemies for Windows. Okay, so while this is okay, so it's open already, right? So you can see it. It's open on the particular folder which is built for social good. So the next thing is creating a file, a subfolder under build for social good, or sorry, under I think, yeah, under build for social good. So you can see build for informal sector has like different parts, like different if it's identity management or whatever you are building, or whatever parts you are building for. So you let's say identity management sounds appealing to me, so I'm going to use that for an example. So you click and you create a folder under this. So I'm going to name this test project. Test project. Also, let me try this test project 2. Okay, so now I have created a file called test project 2, right? So now the next step you will now want to do is uploading your code. If you check on the README, you see like details of what should be in your subfolder, which I wouldn't be going into. You can check the README for that. So the next thing is, let's just imagine I have uploaded my project and the all the requirements in test project 2, and I want to push this to my repository to create a pull request, right? So VS Code has the inbuilt terminal feature. So I'll open terminal here. I'll just forget about that git bash I opened there. So now you do a git status. A git status actually helps you check in what file you change, so you be sure, or what is currently happening in your repository. So you just be sure that you have made the correct change. So if you run a git status, so there's some type of problem. Just give me a sec. So I tried this earlier and pushed, so that's why we're having some difficulties. Okay, yeah. So sorry about the break in transmission. I tried this earlier on and I did not delete it, so let me just create another one. Give me a second. New folder. Okay, so sorry about that. So if you run a git status now, okay. So something's happening now. The problem here is I tried this earlier and I did not delete it, and it's picking up the deleted version. So can you give me a sec? Let me just sort this out. Then I'll come back. While I sort it out, I can take any questions if there are any.
Okay, please, if you have any question, you can post it on the chat and Ruth will do well to answer your questions.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Let me share again. So this is just to tell you that everybody has git problems. I also have it too. So I was supposed to uh, mm, is my screen visible now? Okay, so I'll
Yes,
just okay, I'll just run over the steps again. I deleted that, so clear. So I'm going to download again. Cd out. Okay, so git clone, like I said, git clone the URL. So yeah, so this, after this is done, you cd again into the so I open it again, code dot with command. Okay, so yeah, so then the next thing is creating the file, like I said. So I'll create it again in identity management, a new folder, test project. So I did git status. I'm having some difficulties here. Just give me a sec. So let me just delete the entire project and clone again. Okay. Sorry for this. So sorry about this. So let me copy this again. So I'll just name this. I think it's still picking up what I did before this session. So I'll just name it in another folder. I'll just create another folder in a different directory. Okay.
I know. But you're not listening. You're not listening because you don't like it.
Okay, this is failing. Oh, I don't know why this is failing. Um, sorry, can is there any other question while I try to clear everything on my system and try to sort this out, because it's not actually like picking up any change I make, because I think the file is somewhere in my system or something. 。  . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
Are you? 。 .
Sorry.
。
Okay. Um, I wanna say, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So let
I'm
me
going to
just
repeat
sort
your old
out.
repo, your old submission on
Yeah, that's what
the.
I'm trying. I think it's somewhere in my file, so I have to look for it and delete it. If not, it keeps picking up that old file.
Okay, so let me delete from the repo first. So let's
Okay.
know where the problem is coming from.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about this.
Yeah.
Ruth, we have a question.
Please go ahead and read it while I try to sort it out, sort my problems out. Yeah, I can read it.
Abdul asked, please, can you take the difference between Git and GitHub again? And what are they used for? I am a beginner.
Okay, so difference between Git and GitHub. So Git is the version control system. It's like a command line tool where you can use to push your code down to GitHub. So GitHub is like a cloud hosting. It's a hosting platform for storing your project in form of like repositories, right? So you store your project in form of repositories on GitHub. So GitHub helps you. They are both collaboration tools, but for the main difference is that Git is you can work with Git on local, right? You can work with it to track your changes on your code base and thereabouts. But when you put your upload your projects to GitHub, it's like a platform, like the way your Google Drive works, where you can upload files there and you have access to those files. But although GitHub has like other features, but that's like a basic difference, and they are both used for um, your project, your tracking your code base, collaboration, and the rest of them. Just to be sure, Oante, have you tried to delete the other?
Yeah, I'm pushing now. Yeah. Let me push the changes.
So, good day, everybody. Why we are still waiting for them to push to GitHub, let me just give us a rundown of what who Techrity is. Techrity is a non-profit social enterprise that helps kickstart beginners in tech careers by providing vital resources like data, laptops, and mentorship support for their journey to be a success. Now, Techrity mentorship program connects people who have specific skills such as coding, project management, product management, writing, and the rest. Also, knowledge mentors with individuals who may need the same skills to develop their skill sets. Now, this is built for social group hackathon event. Built for social good hackathon identifies specific challenges for teams to build and provide solutions for social good problems. Now, the hackathon participants also get access to mentors to support and direct them during this hackathon phase. Now, registration is still ongoing for anybody that wants to register a team. The link will be dropped to you. Now, our website for more information is techrity.org. You can also send us a message at hello@techrity.org. And our social media on all social media channels, Techrity.org. So after this session, links will be dropped for this particular session. For those of us that came late or we want to review it again, the link will be dropped in the chat box. If you have any question, you can still post to the chat and your answer shortly.
Okay, so since the command line part is not working, so I'll just show you the other way to upload your project from the GitHub URL. So I'll just share back since the command line is not working. Yeah. So after forking, another procedure to use or another way to do this, after forking the project as your own, you can add files. So if you click on add file here, you are able to either create a new file or upload files from your local system, right? So, and the files you're uploading, like you have a folder rather, so you can either choose to drag and drop them or manually keep adding the files to this point, and after that you write a commit message. So let me just try to upload the file. Okay. So I'll just so I just upload this. So let's say like this is your project. So after uploading this, then you can choose to write your commit message, added index file. And you at this other part, you can choose to extend your description of your changes. Then you create a new branch. So earlier I talked about branches. So if you click on this part, you have the ability to create branches, because if you check on the README for Build for Social Good, you'd see that the next step there after like cloning your project, before uploading your files, you should have a branch. Like you should create a new branch, right? So with this part, you want to name the branch test project or whatever you want to call the branch. But for the other method, which is using the command line, the command is git branch -b. Or if you want to if you want to create the branch and both check out into the branch, that's get into the branch, you have to do a git checkout -b, then the name of the branch. Sorry, I should have shown this, but unfortunately there are some errors on my own end, so I have to use this other method. But I can type the commands in the chat, or I'll just accumulate all the commands and put it up in the chat. So back to this, like you have a branch, so this helps you create like working copies, so that just in case there's a mistake, you can easily delete the branch and it doesn't mess up with your main branch. So once you create the branch, you propose new changes. Okay. So now after you do this, after you have created the branch, next thing is creating a pull request, right? So now after you have compared, if you want to like cross check if the correct thing, you're doing the correct thing, so you try to compare between the two branches, which is test project. We have test project on the other end, and we have the main branch. So after you've compared that, like cross check, you can, on this part, you can write about what the pull request about, like details about what you've done. Maybe I added my project, or more details about what you did. Then the first thing for doing this on the cloud, or on the website directly rather, you're merging it to the main branch. That's your original copy, before creating the PR, another PR to the original project. So let me submit this. Let me create the pull request on my own end. Then, like I said earlier, forking the project makes it your own copy. So on this your own copy, you have the ability to merge pull requests to your main branch. So because this is all good with me, I merge it to the main branch, confirm merge. Then after this is merged, I go to the original. When you go to the original URL, that's the main page. Okay, so give me a sec. So when you click on create new pull request, it's going to want to create a pull request from your own branch. That's from your own copy down to the Techrity main project. So if so click it. So okay, so what I did right here was if you look at this part, it gives you like details of where you're merging, where you are creating the pull request from. So if you look here, this is the original. It's not so, I hope it's visible, but this is like the original Techrity repository, right? And I'm creating the pull request from this my own copy. So once you are sure of that is showing that you're creating it from your own copy down to the original, then you create pull request. Okay, so now you can put in, now this second pull request you're doing is down to the original repository. So you put in the title, added build for social good project. Okay. So and you write in more context about what you added. Sorry. Okay, so you add in more context about all the files or what your project is about, what the committee are making, sorry, the pull request you're making is about, and you click on create pull request. This is furniture. So, yeah. Okay. So I was able to create a pull request from my own branch to the main. If you can see, this is like the main project. So here's a pull request showing the file I added. If you click on file changes, you see that index.html file I added initially. So I think that's like for the practical steps. I'm so sorry the command line part failed. My apologies. So if I'll share this slide. I'll just update this slide with the commands. I'll update the slides with the commands for using the command line or the git bash rather. So some of the credits from this slide is from this Twitter thread. So if you click on this link, you'd see more differences between like Git and GitHub. My apologies and thank you for listening.
Yeah, Ruth, you can show them. I just merged your pull request. So once your pull request is merged, know that your project has been successfully submitted to the Build for Social Good hackathon program. So you can just refresh your URL routes and so that they can confirm that
I th-
your project is there.
yeah, so I think it's been merged. So it changes its status at this point to merged. So that's when you be sure that your project or sorry your pull request has been merged. So thanks for listening. I'll share the slides in a sec while I update the commands or add the commands for it since I wasn't able to show it. I'll just add in the commands if you're using your git bash. Thank you.
Oh, okay, everyone. Thank you for staying till now for the that's to tell you that Git is quite Git is something else. So this webinar I hope has helped hackathon participants to like have a practical knowledge of how they can submit, because I received some feedback concerning the submission process and how cumbersome it was. But if I promise, if you follow the steps on the README, you won't encounter any challenges. But perhaps you encounter a challenge, please post on the Slack channel on the hackathon hackathon on the Techrity's Slack workspace, and your submission will be taken care of, and we'll work with you to submit your project. Also, please, I encourage you all to post about this webinar on your social media handles using the tagging the speaker at Ikegah Ruth and at Techrity Org, also using the hashtag Techrity B for SG Hack, Techrity SDG9, and Build for Informal Sector. Also, this video will be posted shortly on our YouTube channel, like so you can go back to check and go over the process once again. Thank you everyone for attending. The links to the slides for today's session will be posted on the Techrity Slack workspace, and I also encourage you to join if you haven't. And also, you can still start the next week. Submissions are going to come in, are going to roll in from hackathon participants, so it's still not late for you to join the hackathon. You can still join the hackathon. Thank you, Ruth, for this practical session. We appreciate your time that you have spent in showing hackathon participants how to go about submitting their project to the Build for Social Good program. We say a big thank you, and also that what next will be calling on you. You also obliged. So we have come to the end of this webinar on how to use Git and GitHub for the Techrity's Build for Informal Sector Hackathon webinar series. So thank you all for attending. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Ruth, so much. You really tried explaining GitHub in detail. Thanks so much. So nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.